Hey folks. Alrighty, we got a lot to do today. I hope my iPad is still connected here. I think it is. It says it is. We'll see if it works. Anyway, so today I want to show y'all pretty cool. I'm going to turn down the music a little bit here. It's a little loud. I want to show y'all a pretty cool thing that I've started doing in some of my pieces, and I've been using it for a lot of different stuff. That it's kind of a different technique for colorizing pieces. Before I was kind of I'll show you like some of the pieces that I drew them this way, where I'll choose colors and then I'll work off of a palette, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with working that way, but it does take a lot of time to do it. And one of the things that I've been developing is working on this technique where you don't really pick the colors until after the fact. It's by using this gradient map tool to sort of just draw in grayscale whenever you're just doing your kind of concepting or sketching, and then kind of graduating the piece to by using these gradient maps, where it maps different parts of the color scheme on a grayscale. So it'll make sense when I show it to you. We're going to paint some stuff and we're going to colorize it there in the end and just have fun with it. We don't really have like a overall concept or schedule. I think it's gonna be fun. Hey dude. Hey Omar. It's good seeing you, man. How are you doing? We're gonna draw in Procreate today. It's a piece of rice stuck to my glass. It just fell off. It's good seeing you, dude. Yeah, let's see if my iPad is still connected here. Yeah, it is. Okay. So I want to show you first some things that I've drawn recently, and kind of the old way I was drawing them, and some stuff I've done very recently that I'm using some of the other techniques. And I'll show you how it works, and then we'll paint something. So I guess a couple examples are like something like this, where I just kind of did the sketch. So this is using the new technique. I'll go back actually. Let's go back to something more like this, where each of the layers, you can see they're already colorized. All the layers are colorized. The latest Gundam piece, I'll get to that one in a sec. This one is one where I've actually I discovered the technique in the first place, using gradient maps. Yeah, and these later pieces you can see are actually, I mean, they're colorized, but they're black and white. I guess this is the one where I preserved it the most, because I left. I drew some other layers, but you can see the black and white version of this. I drew the sun in after the fact, so you can kind of see how it happened. This is the black and white painting, and then I added in after the fact. That's not it. There it is. Yeah. I added in all the colors, and then it comes together quite nicely, and you can see how I'm just mapping the different pieces together. I'm just gonna move my camera setup just a little bit, just adjust everything, because we're going to be drawing a bit later. It's always a little bit awkward, like reaching around the mic, because I don't always draw on the iPad. Yeah, so I inspired by this technique, I started this like Gundam series. You can see at the top. So I didn't freehand draw these. I used some reference photos. This is actually a photograph of like a statue of a Gundam that was in Tokyo. And there's actually a ton of errors. You can kind of see like down here on the bottom left. I forgot to even colorize a portion of it. But I've always loved Gundams. I think it's just like, it was a fun show in my childhood, and it's very near and dear to me. And this is like, I was just playing with like some compositional stuff, less about the details. It actually looks way better on the screen here. It looks a little fuzzy, I think, how it comes through. But the latest one, I drew my favorite Gundam, who has heavy arms. He has like a big old like chain gun, machine gun thing as one of his arms. And this one was fun because I tried to really work with the light and shadow. and I think it comes across really well. But I can show you kind of how it's put together. So like this is the full black and white version of this, you can see, and then this is the full colorized version. So there are some small errors. You can see some parts that didn't get painted fully, so it's not without its blemishes. It needs a little bit of work probably to finish up. Maybe if it doesn't have a background color, it kind of fixes it, makes it at least a little bit easier. Yeah, no, I really like it. I don't know how many. I don't know if I'll do any more. They're kind of relaxing to do, but as a set of just the 3, I think it looks quite nice. I don't know. I do kind of have this romantic idea in my head of doing all of the original Gundam Wing Gundams. I mean, this one here is not. This is from Mobile Suit Gundam. It's not from Gundam Wing, so it's a different anime. But yeah, this is another one I've been playing with. Right now we're just kind of doing a show and tell before I get into painting. But yeah, this one is mostly just kind of playing with some compositional things and playing with some different brushes. I don't normally use hey All Yang from YouTube. Is this a therapy session? We can talk about stuff. We're gonna get to be drawing soon. Hey Jelly Duck. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. Also, hello. We're just talking through some stuff I've drawn recently before I get into something fresh. This is I was playing with some oil brushes, which I don't normally. I'm not super familiar with them, so I need to get a little bit better. It's still, I mean, it's mostly just a little sketch, but it's something fun. Definitely, I think the one that turned out the best was something like this, which is kind of something we'll work on today. Something in this vein. Maybe not exactly like grassy hills, but I want to do some landscape stuff, and maybe we'll work in some characters or something like that. But yeah, the Gundam series was really fun. Hey Green, hey, thanks for the host, my man. I appreciate you. Yeah. Okay, since we're doing a show and tell, I'll show you guys some stuff. Like this is like a cityscape that is half baked. How you doing? I didn't quite finish it, but I might still add a layer of paint to this thing after the fact, maybe a bit later. This is there's a couple here. Anyway, let's draw something. Oh yeah, this is the Halloween piece. This was a fun one. Quite like that one. Very, very nice. Procreate tutorials. Hello. Hi. We're just getting going here. We're gonna start with something fresh. So what we're gonna be doing today is like I said before, we're gonna be doing some like kind of concept arty kind of style, but we're gonna colorize it at the very end. I'm gonna show you a technique, kind of using gradient maps. So you can take like a concept art piece and graduate it to something a little bit more complete, or at least finished looking, and should be fun. I don't know. It's a technique I'm still kind of working out. So we're gonna work with this this palette here. We're just gonna be using grayscales. Concept. What is today's concept? It's a good question. We can kind of work it out together. I'm just gonna start painting some shapes, and we're gonna just kind of figure out the landscape as we go. I don't really have like a fixed plan. Sometimes when I'm looking for inspiration, I want to do like mountains and stuff. I'll look on Unsplash or something like that. But I'm not sure what we'll do today. Let's pick out a brush first. I really love getting started. I like the flat brush. It just kind of gives us some like jaggy edges, kind of when we're doing lines, when we're doing our big lines, and it makes like just good rocks, in my opinion. So I say we just kind of start with that. Omer, you're writing your first personal project. Is this the animation project you were talking about last week? Because that was kind of cool. I just need to do the mic reach around thing again. Rough mops in Japan. I could imagine it. Let's start in doing like the middle ground. So we don't quite do the foreground yet because we don't fully know our shapes yet. We don't want to do the very back yet because we also don't know what we're going to be painting. We don't want to paint a bunch of detail or find some interesting shapes that we can't really use yet. So let's start in the middle. I'm painting in a square because it makes everything easier to share on social media and when we're just working with the square. So it's a limiting canvas, but it's easier to work with later because I don't have to like cut part of it, you know. So let's just start. Let's just kind of begin. Let's pick a size. Let's get quite big. It's maybe a little big. Let's go a little small. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, so I think what we'll do is like let's kind of find like a mountain ridge here. Oh, you know what? I have some opacity with my brush here, and I don't want any opacity. Let's start that one more time. Mary, you said you canceled the animation project. Oh yeah, this is much better. So you see how like this like brush kind of gives us these like it's like jaggy edges. It's kind of nice, right? So I'm just gonna go over this once. And just kind of find like maybe a mountain ridge here, you know, like just kind of something maybe kind of goes through. And we'll paint over the rest of the foreground. So I'll just kind of drag this out and we'll just kind of paint some layers on top of it as we're going. So we're just gonna find it. Oh man, I'm excited to do this, to hear this. So is it just a writing course, or are you gonna do, is it like a visual thing that you want to storytell? What do you see, Yang? What's your Rorschach test doing for you? You know what? And so let's continue. Like I want to have a little bit of verticality to this whole thing. I want to have some sky. So I'm just gonna select this and move it up a little bit, and we'll work out kind of what we see here. So let's move. Let's kind of control some of the layers here. Let's give like this an element of highlights. Think about where the sun is. Maybe that's like the next step. And let's give that a little bit of love. So we're gonna work on individual layers each time we paint with one of the colors, and this is gonna make it easier to manage a little bit later. And I should say this is one important bit, and for this like technique that I'm gonna be sharing, it's important that we do one thing. You don't have to do it now, but it's gonna save you some pain later, and it's to create a group of all your objects right now. So when you create this group, it's going to enable us to duplicate, and that'll allow us to try things, because once we flatten everything, we'll lose a lot of the editability of the whole thing. So if you create the group now, you don't have to think about it later, and there's no great way in Procreate to like select a bunch of things and then group them. Or at least I haven't found it. So that's just going to save us a little bit of a headache later. So let's continue. You see peace with limits, you know, like ice cream. Sweet, but you're gonna melt. Oh. Alright. Let's, alright, just gotta move everything. Here we go. Let's keep going. So, kind of, oh, I selected the same color. Oops. Yeah, here we go. So I like this lighter color here. So let's make our brush a little bit lighter, and let's start painting on some highlights here. Oops. There we go. Let's make it a little bit smaller. So I'm just gonna find like some areas here that I want to highlight. Maybe just always on the edges. And we'll find these shapes a little bit. We're going for the broad strokes right now to find kind of the spirit of the piece, what we're going to be drawing. Like maybe this is like actually like a, whoops, I gotta make that eraser much bigger. I was thinking maybe this ridge over here, light doesn't come through over there. So I just kind of painted a big thing and then I'm just kind of erasing it. But I think my brush is Oops. It's my eraser brush. Also needs to be a flat brush. There we go. Just want to get the same kind of texture with it. And this is, we're just going to keep going with this and just kind of find these highlights. And maybe it's maybe we'll come back to this like once we find like the middle ground. I then like once we kind of have like a rough shape of something, I like to formulate this this big foreground. Like maybe let's put like a big old, I don't want to get too far ahead, but like let's put like a big like rock here that's like in the foreground. Let's make this bigger so we can kind of work with it. I love this square brush. It just makes the best rocks. See, like it's just like kind of chunky. And sorry, I make my canvas all crooked. Hey Miguel, it's good seeing you. And hey, it's Rat. Good seeing y'all as well. Yeah, we're gonna go into this kind of this new technique of painting that I've been kind of hinting at on the past few days. I'm just gonna pop back over here. Just want to when I moved this thing, I kind of messed up the edges, and I just kind of want to clean that up. But I still think, you know, we gotta still find like the overall composition that we want. Let's add like a little something more interesting kind of behind this mountain. I still think this mountain is also maybe a little bit too high, so let's pull this down even more. And you know what? Let's undo that. Let's do a free form. Let's even kind of smash it. We're the lords of this world. We can do whatever we want. So we'll just kind of do some resizing here, and we're gonna clean this part up anyway. So it's really just so we start to understand the light. And I think I'll pop back over to this layer. And let's make this like a little bit more interesting here. Let's make this like kind of rounded. Let's kind of have it come down like this. We'll make this kind of jaggy. Just kind of playing with the brush, making it kind of do some like spires and spikes like that. It makes it fun. Omer, what you saying? The story's about a kid who gets blind, and his mother and father they really love him, and the kid dreams to see the stars and remembers when he and his dad were watching the stars the night before he go to sleep. It's a small teaser for the story. I'm hooked. I'm hooked already. I can imagine just like the visual. I think you're going to do a beautiful job telling that story. Miguel, Rat, how are you guys doing? It's good seeing you. So now we have like this like kind of rocky thing kind of building. Let's move backwards a little bit. Let's move what's behind this portion in the layout. I'm still arranging my layers here. So we'll go a bit lighter than this one. I think that's exactly what we'll need. I don't know. Let's add an element. I need actually because my hand is slightly sweaty. I need my glove. I'm not wearing it. I don't know where I put it. Oh, here it is. Okay, it's in one of my drawers. Yeah, my hand gets kind of sweaty. Oops, I just dropped my pen. And I get droplets on me. Anyway, so now I want to smear the screen or accidentally undo. You play D&D with your family. Also get invited my first English game, so I'm a bit nervous about that. I've never played D&D. I've always wanted to. I've played some other tabletops. I think it would be really fun, but I've just never been invited. I think so. Here's the thing: I would love, I think, to be a DM in a Dungeons and Dragons game. I would love to do like the storytelling, but I'm unexperienced, so I think I just need to kind of sit down and do it. So I'm thinking here, like, let's put like a castle of sorts. You know, let's start with like a spire, and we're just gonna start with like the rough shape of the whole thing, you know, something kind of like this, you know, and maybe it goes across. Maybe this is like this structure here, you know, that maybe it's like a bridge. Maybe that's what it is. All right, let's just build out a structure and see. Miguel, you play D&D with a group currently and having some fun with an Echo Knight. You had some friends over playing Jackbox. Oh, that's just fun, isn't it? Just like hanging with folks and playing fun games and stuff. Oops. Let's I'm maybe getting ahead of myself already doing some of this detail, but I just kind of want this to have like windows, so I just want to already seeing like what this is. Oops. Let's make this a bit smaller, and I'm just maybe this has like some poles and stuff, you know, that go over. We want to give it like enough detail that we can see it as a thing, but maybe it has too much detail already, and we can obfuscate some of it and put some things in, you know, or maybe it's even too big and we just need to make it smaller so it feels like it's far away. We can do that too. I'm just trying to evenly space these optically. Don't really like how most of this looks. Maybe we just put 2 on that side. Maybe something like that. Yeah, so let's make this smaller. Let's go back. Let's make this uniform. Or something like that. I want to just have like a lot of space to be able to work with the whole thing, you know? Let's continue this. It needs to be slightly smaller. Oh no, made it too big. You can make it straight kind of by holding it down after the fact. So you can just draw a straight line and then like you can kind of drag like a slightly crooked line, but if you hold it down, it'll straighten it out, and then you can. It's like a nice little tip I learned. But for these, we're just gonna do it like so. So maybe this like continues onwards over here, back behind it, you know. So we got like this like bridge structure here. This is kind of cool. Something we can play with. Sorry, I'm like kind of moving everything. I don't know if we'll stick with the bridge. Let's just see. I kind of originally said castle and then immediately turned into a bridge thing. But let's see what becomes of it. I feel like already we've gone a little bit off script, but it makes it fun, right? We're not gives us an opportunity to add some detail to this world we're drawing. It's quite symmetrical, which I hadn't really intended. But we can add some of these objects that I've drawn over here. We can add them along the way. Maybe not. Maybe we just keep it kind of open. Let's see. So what I'm imagining is that that this sort of bridge is like existing in between this valley. You know, we have like these like big mountains kind of behind it. I'm just gonna draw these big mountains here. Make these a little bit more mountainous, but this is like the big valley that exists in between. Maybe it goes back up here. Make that a little bit jagged. And then we have like an interesting composition here. I mean, it's starting to get this weird kind of symmetry. It's all like around this lighthouse or this tower here. And maybe we actually restructure this and then it does become a castle or something. But let's get to that in a little bit. Rat got his younger sister into DMing. So you play your greatest character, an animated rhubarb plant with 10 feet long legs and no arms. That's amazing. Yeah, let's just continue with some of the layers here and kind of work out kind of where everything is. So I think maybe just here faintly in the distance we'll have like maybe like more mountains, you know, so it's not so maybe these are a bit smoother because they're farther away. We don't see as much of the detail. Maybe it kind of goes up there. We make the rules in this world. Okay, so we're kind of building out this this kind of layout. The longer I'm looking at this, the less I'm into the bridge, but the more I'm loving this idea of the composition. So I want to keep playing with this. Let's just kind of maybe make this a little bit more interesting there. So I think what I'll do is like let's just turn off the bridge for a little bit, not delete it. Let's maybe come up with some other ideas, some other concepts. I'm just going to select this color and we're just going to draw in the same kind of region. So like in between and kind of play with some ideas. So I'm thinking maybe let's just turn down my brush size a little bit. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Let's still work with like a tower here. I like this idea of like it being in the middle. You know, something like that. Sorry, my chat window died. Go like that. And maybe this needs more of like a rock to stand on, you know. Maybe this like building needs some more content. We're gonna add lighting and kind of contrast to all this in a bit. Actually, I'm really into this. I think this is kind of cool. But let's make it so that it feels like it's like this whole thing, and maybe has like other spires over here, like behind it, that are like things that we can't see, you know, like the whole of their structure, you know. Maybe this one's even just on the other side of this, and so it's quite tall. I don't know if I love that, because it would be kind of it would be much darker. So let's maybe not do that here, but let's maybe put like a similarly small one here. Maybe we see like a different side of it. Ooh, I'm loving this. This is something we can work with, I think. Let's still add, I think, maybe like a little bit more of structure to this. Like maybe this is like this spire building and it has I still love this idea of a bridge that like connects like portions of this structure, you know. Like maybe it has something like that. That's something kind of cool. Like this has something lovable to it we can get behind. I feel so flattered that Procreate tutorials came into my chat and said hello. That's pretty cool. I don't really feel like very much of a tutorial giver. I'm just a dude who draws, but I appreciate it. Okay, so let's continue a little bit more. We can maybe still make this cooler, I think. Like, what if we make it a little bit mystical? Like, what if these things had let's make our brush like a little bit smaller. What if they had like floating rocks over them? What if we're gonna add lots of light to this? We're gonna do a whole lighting pass after the fact. What if these things have like a floating shard or something kind of coming off of it? It's kind of cool, right? I can see it. Maybe there's still like one more thing over here. I don't love it being just 3. Let's work on this. All right. So I think I'm really getting into the composition now. I think we have something kind of cool. We can kind of play, I think, with the background still. We don't have like a great color back there. Let's just add one more layer, and I'm just going to kind of move that around. Let's add this like lightest color over here. It's just gonna give it. Hey Oz, it's good seeing you. Did you see the heavy arms that I did? The heavy arms here. This is the heavy arms I drew. It's I think the best Gundam I've drawn yet. I just tweeted it today. I finished it the other night and I've kind of sat on it for a few days, but here's the bad boy. Gundam 003 heavy arms. But I'm really happy with it. I think it's the best one yet. Thank you. Yeah. I've done a series of 3 Gundams. I talked about those at the beginning of the stream. Yeah, no worries, Omero. Go get some rest. Death Scythe, and then heavy arms. But today we're doing this like environment painting, and I'm gonna show you guys some like cool tricks you can do. But go over that in a little bit. But right now we're just gonna. I was one darker, maybe even 2 darker. I'm still developing this palette. I think the hues could be a little bit more granular, and that would give me a little bit more control, but it's okay. We're working through it. Good night, Omar. It's good seeing you, man. You have a good one. Okay, so I think from here, let's we know light is kind of coming in from the can't see where my arm is, but kind of coming in from this right side. over here. So let's go ahead and illuminate, give highlights to all these, and then we'll kind of add more detail, and it will help give some dimension to this whole thing. So we can kind of just use the color of the layer in front of us, in front of each section, and we can do our highlight work with that. That's what I meant, the one kind of behind it. So we can use this one for highlighting. So we'll just make this like a little bit. We're just gonna kind of just draw over parts of it there. And this gets a little problematic because it's the same color as the background. We can get away with it up here, but what we'll do is we'll give it we'll work with like smaller lines, kind of giving it like kind of a highlight here. But then what we'll do is we'll kind of paint on like sort of the addition of other details here. See, that kind of gives this illusion that this object exists over here, and I'm just gonna give this like a little bit of and what we'll do is we'll just kind of erase part of this, and we'll kind of come in through like bits. I'm just gonna kind of erase parts of it. I'm just using the eraser now to erase parts of it. It's gonna give highlights to the whole thing. Oops, I meant to have my eraser. I'm just gonna make this a little bit smaller. I'm just kind of erasing part of it, so it's soft. It's only getting the hard light on one section, you see, and not the entire thing. So I'm just kind of creating one side of it where the light hits. Maybe this object is like maybe a little square here, you know, so maybe parts of this get the light. We'll just kind of draw this angle here. So when are you going to shift over to always on category? Hey Baz, it's good seeing you, man. How are things? Actually gonna redo this, kind of what I did here. So I wanna kind of rethink what this structure looks like. I think this whole part here is getting light, and I'm gonna redo part of this. Gonna make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. We're going to erase part of this. And I'm just going to erase maybe some elements here, and these can be like these windows maybe, you know? We'll make these like longer and narrow, and we can still kind of paint something into these. Just want to give this whole thing like a little bit of structure, and maybe like a door down here. So just to catch everyone up, I mean, I've talked about it a few times, but I just want to make sure folks don't feel left out. I'm painting this piece, and it's just in black and white right now, but it's going to be colorized when we're done. And I'm going to show you how to do that quite easily, quite simply. It's not that hard to do, and it'll actually, I think, look quite cool. So right now I'm just kind of painting on some shadows and highlights for this layer that we're on right now. I'm just kind of painting on some colors, and then just shaving off a little bit of highlight just to give the whole thing a little bit of dimension. Kind of like that, just so this thing kind of looks like a bit of a block here. And then we're just gonna go layer by layer, paint on the shadows and highlights, and then as we get closer to the end, we'll start adding the color bits, which will be very fun. It's always my favorite part, so I'm very excited to get to it. I want to get to it as soon as possible, but we can't rush it because it won't look good otherwise. So maybe this has like a bit over here. I'm just erasing parts of this, makes it look a little bit rocky, a little bit jaggy, just so it gets the light. And I'm just gonna keep painting. I'm just gonna keep going. Can't stop, won't stop. And maybe we can even draw like an extra like part of this that has highlight here. We can just create this by just drawing the highlight portion. You know, and maybe even underneath here, parts of it will kind of come through, kind of underneath. Oops. Zoom in here. Oops. Just gonna build out this, and let's keep giving this like some love over here. This would have all this, and maybe parts of this would also over here. Maybe some light would be hitting it. We're just gonna draw some of these shapes, kind of where maybe light would be coming through. And then we're gonna add a layer. Hey Baz. Thank you for the host, my brother. It's mighty fine of you. Mighty cool of you. Okay. So now I'm just going to take this brush. I'm going to make it slightly bigger because I want to work kind of in the broad strokes. And I'm just using pressure. I'm just using some light pressure. I'm just erasing, just kind of making this a little bit faint. Maybe parts of this I just kind of remove. I don't know how much light would actually be coming through. Cross over here, I just want to give it a non-zero amount of texture. I erased a little bit too much over here. Go back to like a slightly smaller brush so I can control it more. Cut out part of that. Just kind of want this to look a little bit rocky, kind of give it just those moments of light kind of coming in. And I want to also give this like an element of shadow. So we're going to take this color kind of in front of us. We're going to already start defining some of that too, like maybe kind of over here, underneath. This is like all shadow here as well. We'll do a similar kind of treatment. This whole thing cast a shadow a little bit. Just move object to object and kind of just give it just something on the outside. Already just kind of do what we were doing earlier. Go over it lightly with the eraser. Just letting our hand just kind of glide over it. Paz, how are things going, man? Just kind of toning this down just slightly, just letting our hand glide over it, giving it some of the detail. And over here, maybe since this one's a little bit closer, we can give this even more detail, you know, really sell the vibe we're working on the other one. It's one thing I always talk about when I'm drawing stuff, is this idea of selling the illusion. You don't have to always actually draw the thing that you're trying to draw. You just gotta make it look like you've drawn the whole thing. And that's what we'll use this front spire, this kind of one in the front, to sell the illusion that the rest of them look like this. It's a useful trick. Just selling the illusion. I'm just gonna make it look like rock. We're gonna do that just by playing light off of each other. Alright. Let's go back to our highlight layer here. We're using color in the back. Let's just give this. Let's give this a really nice highlight. We'll pair ourselves right up next to the dark things, because that's where we get the best contrast. Light right next to dark, and we're on the layer underneath it, so we can really just go right on it. Just paint just like that. I'm gonna go through and erase part of this, so it's clear. We've got some kind of grungy lines we need to fix, but that's okay. Just gonna go through. Just erase part of it. But this is starting to look spire-y. He looks the most rock-like of the rest of them. I appreciate it, guys. Calling it cozy. It's what we're going for. I guess. I don't know. Just having fun with it. So I'll be honest. If we're gonna be objective here, I don't love. Is it that layer? Or is it this layer? Or is it this layer? It's this layer. I don't love the way that looks, but I want to give this a little bit more contrast. So we're gonna paint a little bit more over here. And a little goes a long way, kind of painting in these arches. You just have to do a little bit there, but you see how we get something that looks like a window suddenly? Just doesn't take a lot. Just takes a little bit of something like that, and then it looks like a kind of three-dimensional. Just kind of curving it a little bit. I'm just using the flat brush. I from Flatbush. No, nothing crazy. Just the Flatbush. Flatbrush, and that's about it. Flatbush, the eraser. We're just kind of just trying to figure out like how to do this, but I think this actually works kind of well. Like maybe we'll just have it kind of painted out like that. That's kind of cool. And then we'll just have like, let's give this a little bit more dimension. We can do better here. The whole side of this thing, so it kind of want the shadows to feel kind of real. Procreate's such a good tool. I have recently started drawing in Affinity as well on the iPad, and it's quite good, but it's very different, and I have a lot to learn still. So I'm still figuring that out. But cool. I'm liking the way this is looking. This is starting to look kind of cool. Beat the devil out of it, yeah. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. We've kind of been working on this building down there quite a bit, and let's work on this layer up here in the very top. I want to give this a little bit of love, like a little bit of detail. You know, if light is kind of hitting it, it would also kind of be coming through. We might see parts of it, you know, like this. And let's maybe make this a little bit bigger so we get kind of some of the jagginess. If it's too small, you don't really get it. I like having. Gotta go smaller for it to work. I'm thinking here we just have like a little bit of light coming through. You know, just want to create a situation where you have a little bit of light. Sorry, I keep turning it sideways. So I'll try not to do that. Maybe this is just a little bit of light, you know, that comes through here. Crazy. Just kind of giving it, you know, like a little bit of a threshold here, and we might even just kind of turn down the opacity on that. Just wanted to have like the hint, you know, of something being there. I don't want to overdo it there. Did I watch the Bob Ross doc? Yes, I did. Yeah, it's fascinating and sad, and also kind of, I mean, I wanted to say happy. It's a pretty tragic story, but it is happy. I mean, he inspired so many, and you get to see that, which is cool. What do I want here? I'm going to take this layer, and I think it's, which layer is that bad boy? Kind of over this layer. So one thing we can do, when we're working in this grayscale and we kind of want to have a good a good color contrast happening. We can use the same color, so like we don't actually see what we're drawing here. But what we'll do is we'll go to this layer and we will multiply it, which multiplies the hues, and we'll just turn down the opacity of the layer to like 20%. And this gives us a way to kind of quickly kind of work within the confines of what we want to do, but without having to really create like a new piece of our color palette. See what I'm saying? We'll just kind of draw in like these kinds of cliffs here, and maybe it kind of goes like that. We'll just tone this down, and we'll continue kind of editing this kind of as we go. Like maybe some light comes through there. Maybe that's another peak. Maybe that's another one over here. Let's make this eraser like a little bit bigger. Something like that. Let's just play with this a little bit. Like we would see all this. If this was a peak, parts of this wouldn't come through. Parts of this wouldn't either. Oops. The eraser tool is very, very strong, very powerful. We can use a lot here to get the shapes we want. We just kind of want to showcase like light coming through, and on these peaks, you know. I don't want to show too much detail, honestly. I want to show enough that, you know, we feel like you double tap it, switches to your eraser. I sometimes forget that. It's pretty mountainy to me. We can continue kind of playing with it, but looks pretty cool. And I think maybe if we just go back to the this background layer there, we'll do the same thing, where we'll multiply and we'll take the opacity, but this time we'll go even, maybe just to like 9%. You know, nothing really it's going to give us too much, and we're just going to make the brush kind of big, and we're just going to kind of paint in. We won't see this a ton until we add color, probably, and even then it won't be super obvious, but we just want to give it like a little bit of something that you'll feel, just some kind of the rolling kind of bit there. So one thing I'm seeing here that I don't love is some of the details here. This bit right down here kind of lines up a little bit too evenly with the part right next to it, which was a little bit of a brain wonder, because it didn't look quite right. So I'm just gonna change that. You were at another German Christmas market. How was that? They're still closed here. these bits that are down here, which is going to make them really faint. And in general, I'm just going to go through and kind of erase them slightly. Even more of the chocolates. That's good stuff, man. It's fun. Okay, so I say we come over here and we continue adding a little bit of highlight work. Let's go to our handy dandy multiply tool. We're going to use the same technique since we've defined all of our regions now, and we want to continue. We're just going to make this whole part down here like a little bit darker. This back in, just kind of finding the shapes we're looking for. I kind of like that some light kind of comes through there, kind of like that. That's cool. I think one thing that I would like is to kind of give a little bit more of some kind of definition before we move into the colorization phase. I want things to kind of feel far away, so we're gonna add some stuff. So we're gonna go to, where am I looking for? Airbrushing, soft brush, and we're just gonna add. Oops. Gotta make sure I'm on the right layer here. So let's see, we want this to be behind the castle. Behind the castle, I just kind of want to give some like fog down here. Kind of over here. And on the layer in front of the castle, we're gonna do the same. We're just gonna add this kind of here, this kind of business. Was a little much. Just gonna make a big brush here. I'm actually gonna erase quite a bit of that. Gonna do that bit over here. And sorry, I just realized I made my canvas all crooked again. And in these objects, kind of over here in the foreground, I'm gonna also give that a little bit of something light. And yeah, like maybe there's some that comes through here. Maybe delete this, or at least tone it down some. That's cool. I like that. That's got some coolness to it. You know what? In general, let's sorry, I gotta turn my iPad here. Make this very big. Very big, turn down the opacity quite a bit. So I just want this to kind of have kind of that airy feel to it. Just kind of lighten it up. And I'm right-handed. That's why I kind of gotta wrap my arm around the I should take a picture of my whole setup, because I keep turning the canvas so I can draw on it. I wish you could see my hand. And then I think I remember then that I'm making you people look at like a crooked image, and it's not very fun. I know that, so just gonna turn this down to like maybe 80%. Let's continue adding a little bit of detail, and let's kind of go back to our flat brush, where we'll keep kind of adding some stuff. One thing I love doing is showing light kind of coming through an area. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of do something like this. Let's make the brush slightly opaque. I kind of made it a little bit too curvy. give that down. Honestly, I think I'm gonna do that differently. I think I'm gonna clear this. I think I want the brush to be a little bit smaller. I think I want my light beams to be a little bit more narrow. I think they were a little too fat. There we go. That's what I want. Kind of like that coming through. Yeah, that's why I turned it. Okay, let's add a little bit more of a different type of detail. I'm gonna make a small brush again. We're gonna zoom in, and we're gonna give. Now we're gonna go. I'm on the wrong layer. Create an entirely new layer. There we go. We're gonna create a really tiny brush. Even smaller than that, it's too big. Yeah, just like that. And we're just gonna paint on like these. These highlights here. I don't know if I like that squiggle one. Like maybe just. It's just these moments where like we want the light to really pop on this object, you know? Because when we colorize it, these are the things that will accept one of the brightest colors, and so we want to be that. And I think this one in the shade probably doesn't have quite as much. Oops. I want these to be kind of pointy, so I'm just going to go over them with the eraser so they have that pointiness to them. The shrimp are all dead. Shrimp didn't make it, unfortunately, but I'm amazed that you remember them so. It's probably for the best that we didn't have a shrimp cam, even though we talked about it. I'm still convinced shrimp cam would be a hit. Yeah, we had kind of a self-contained ecosystem. The little, it's called a planetarium, is giving a little bit too much credit. Like it was like a container of water, and it had plants in it, and there were shrimp in there as well. That would also shrimp and some snails that were in it, and it was quite cool overall. Things were good. Things went swimmingly for for a really long time. But there was just an unfortunate moment when I don't know, just the general thing kind of collapsed. The shrimps were kind of missing certain nutrients, we think. The snails had reproduced in a way that we didn't expect. Like there were so many snails, and yeah, we kind of had the ecosystem collapsed on us. Unfortunately, we lost the shrimps. So it's a sad story, but it's okay. We'll try it again one day. Our pizza stash is dwindling. We haven't eaten much. So Bad's getting all this information from we did like a IRL stream one day. Walked showed folks my kitchen, my shrimps. So I think we can do some fun stuff here as well, where we could maybe take the airbrush, which is just such a cool brush. And paint in like a shadow kind of here. Kind of do like giving this like a contrast. Kind of makes it look a little bit foggy. Sorry, I did the thing where I twisted it again. Sorry. This is fun. So I think maybe we just, there's like a couple more things, like maybe we just add like a character of sorts to make this kind of neat, you know? I think they'd have to be quite small and, oops, my opacity on my brush was very low, and I also have an airbrush still selected, so gotta get the flat brush. So we're gonna zoom in. Let's move all this to the front. How does this look? If we're zoomed out, does that look like a kind of wisping cape? I think we could maybe. I always like it when folks carry like a thing. You know? Kind of draping out. Kind of cool, right? Like a little folk standing there. And what we'll do is we'll give this dude like trying to erase it. I'm just trying to give this like a little bit of texture just so it's not so flat, and just have like a little character that's maybe like looking out over this thing, and that's pretty cool, right? Little traveler, yeah, something like that. I think we can still maybe. Yeah, we'll have to see. rough terrain, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so here's where I think we can start to have some fun with it, all right? And I'm going to show you how this technique works. So we have this group that I told you to create at the very beginning, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate that group, okay? And then we're just going to turn off the old one, okay? So that just kind of sticks there, and that's like a folder that we can use. If we don't like the things that we create right now, we can go back and we can change those things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten. So I just flattened everything down into a single image, okay? We'll turn off the background. And now, this is where we can do some really cool stuff. So in the adjustments layer, there's this thing in the top section called gradient map. Now what a gradient map does is it maps colors of a gradient that we'll choose down below, and it will map them to a grayscale area. So there are a couple that are already here, and we can just start taking a look at some of these and just kind of flick through them and see if anything sticks out. And if nothing does, we'll pick our own. This already is kind of cool. Kind of has a vibe to it. This doesn't quite match as well. This does. That's really cool. Love the way that looks. Could imagine this looking really neat. Not as much that. This looks awful. This noir looks very cool. Definitely into that one. Which one? Which one? Noir? Neon? Blaze? I have two blazes. Orange. This orange? We can also create our own one. Blaze is cool. What else we got here? Noir, I think, has like a hellish vibe to it. That's pretty cool. I think Mocha looks really awesome as well. We like Blaze. I say what we do is let's duplicate Blaze. We'll call it Blaze 2. And I say we kind of try with the colors. Let's play with it a little bit. So I like the white, but I kind of wish it was something else. So kind of like the highlight color. Like why don't we could really lean into the yellow. See, originally I was thinking that these stones maybe have like a you know, bluish tint to them. We could play with reds. And it's really just whatever's on the tail end of this gradient. This is this medium highlight color. Can really do all kinds of stuff. What was it? The Mocha one? Brings out the rockiness of it? Yeah, you can definitely see the rocks in Mocha. Let's also try editing Mocha and see. And we can also just create like a totally separate one. Like maybe we do that as well. Like we just create like our own. Like I think the thing that bugs us probably about Mocha is this like blue sky, also the pink. But we can really lean into the pink quite a bit. I need to turn up the brightness slightly just so I can kind of see the contrast of the colors really clearly. Because I kind of like having this like kind of pink sky. Yeah, I think I'm gonna add some of the like maybe a moon or a sun or something like that after the fact. We can add some highlights to this whole thing afterwards, which will kind of make sense. And this like earthy color is really nice, but we could play with this mid-tone as well. But I think it's best when it's like kind of darker. What happens when this is like, oh yeah, you can do some really cool stuff. Can I move this thing? Unfortunately not. This has a pretty cool look to it, not gonna lie. Looking at it here, this is kind of cool. I think I want to stick with this one, fam. This is my favorite. And there's a couple things I want to add to it. Like a few things I want to adjust. And kind of add. So we're gonna create a layer, and now that we have this color that we understand really well, I think it could be kind of cool. We added like a sun of sorts. Let's do it the correct way. Let's do lips. I could like sit maybe like above it there. It's kind of cool. I like that. And one thing we can do as well is we can still pick out like a nice highlight color that we really like. Something, let's see, because originally I had like in mind like something kind of like this like green that would be, oh whoops, that's huge. That would be like this. We could still like paint on something like that. Could still like give these this like moment, these like aberrations, you know, like there's something magical in the cliffs. I kind of like that. I think that has like a cool kind of look to it. Let's keep kind of adding to it. A sense of wonder. That's good. Right? I like sense of wonder. That's a good vibe. There be magic in these rocks. Just lightly. Lightly holding my brush over here, just kind of giving this. I feel like we can do that with this piece. It does tell a story in a way. You can see like there was either a kingdom or a wizard or something that was using the power here, you know? Maybe it's still there. Maybe this power never left. it's cool. I wanna continue playing with this some. I want to give this. Want that one to look like it has quite a bit going on. Just, again, letting my brush run just lightly over the thing. Just giving it. I think it's kind of cool. It's a fun piece. So one thing I like doing as well is, so I will just take this piece and I will merge it down so it kind of becomes one with it. And one thing I love doing lately is also just giving this a little bit of noise. Not a ton, but just usually like 6 to 8%, and it just kind of gives the whole thing like a little bit of a texture to it, you see. And like right now we're just at 7%. I think that's plenty. I think we don't need any more. It just kind of gives the whole thing a little bit of texture, something that kind of feels a little bit lived in. And we'll just turn this on, and I'm just going to do these separately because I don't know if I want to flatten it in yet, but I'm also going to give these a little bit of noise. I'll just give those. I'll give those, oops, on the wrong layer. I'm gonna give these a bit of noise. Just give them a little bit more because they're kind of far away. So yeah, we'll go like 12%. And I think I will just slightly reduce their opacity. I think it's pretty. Hey, Naux. Dude, it's good. Long time no see. Let's make this a little bit big so we can see it in the foreground. So some things that got lost along the way is like some of the details and the person are gone. They didn't make it. Not the person, but like underneath it. And but I love so I'll just say like some things that I think turned out really well. So I think the fog, like the sense of depth there, that looks amazing. I don't love the mountain in the background. I think I could have done a better job like with the dimensions there and like kind of the detail. I think it's a little distracting. It's kind of busy, so I think I can do that better. And the building, I think it's okay. I kind of just went for it, and I originally intended on the little hump, the bridge thing, to be like a little bit more of an interesting kind of watchtower, and I think the building ended up looking a little bit boring, but it's mysterious, so I think it pulls it off in that way. Now, because things are good, yeah, I've been doing some concept art painting. I could show you this piece. We drew the whole thing in black and white, all the different layers, and pieced together the whole thing, and then we flattened it all down after we duplicated it and added like a little bit of detail and used a gradient map to paint the whole thing, and I think it turned out great. I love also like it wasn't like I thought they might get lost, but these I wish I had a cursor to kind of point with, but these like kind of light layers, like the long strokes I did, on the bottom left-hand corner. I wasn't sure if they were going to show up, and they did show up. I like that. Yeah, no, because things have been good, man. It's great seeing you. Good seeing old time friends. I don't know if there's a ton that I would add to this right now. Hey, thanks Little to Know. Yeah, it's a little wonky. It could be a bit improved. I think especially when you look at it with that kind of back spire, because it was in the black and white. I'll show you the black and white part. It looks a little bit more easy to reckon with, but when we colorized it, it becomes more obvious that it's a bit weird. But I totally get you there. I think you're not wrong. The whole building I think is a kind of a weak spot, and kind of what I mentioned before as well with the detail on the mountain behind it, I think is a little distracting. I think I could have done a better job painting those, but I got kind of hasty. I was really excited to get into the colorization of it and the other details, so I just kind of jumped in. So I appreciate it, Naugs. I'm still trying to just get better at painting. I don't think I'm very good at it in terms of just natural ability. Folks are killing it. I'm just trying to make it up as I go, but I'm really happy with this one, just as a quick kind of art piece to showcase kind of this technique that I've been working on for colorizing pieces and drawing. Hey Joe, it's good seeing you, dude. I appreciate it, y'all. I also like the feedback along the way for how we picked the colors. I think it landed really good. It's a fun piece. I don't know. I want to do some more of these. This might be. We'll have to play it by ear next week. This might be the last stream of the year before we return next year. But I'd like to do a few more of these kind of concept art style drawings, because I really enjoy it. I find it super therapeutic and relaxing. Sometimes the vector art stuff stresses me out. Like, I don't know, I just have to think about it too much. And these are just really chill. So I do enjoy it. And I want to get better at it. So hopefully over the break, I'm going to take my iPad with me. I'm going to continue kind of learning a bit. And maybe we can do some fun stuff when I'm back. We'll see about doing another one next week. I'll let everyone in Discord know. I guess it's a good time. Yeah. If you want to keep up with the stuff that I draw, I'll continue posting it in the Discord and on Twitter and stuff as I go. We could do it as a wallpaper. The problem is, like I said, kind of in the very beginning, it's I've been drawing only in Square lately because it's easier to like share it to Instagram and stuff. But like, if we do like a landscape like this one, we could theoretically do as a wallpaper because I could extend it on the right side. It would be weighted to the left side, and similarly, like this one kind of could work. Like I could maybe draw like part of it, but otherwise it's kind of stuck in the middle of your screen, which is really unfortunate because lately I've been getting a lot of people asking me if they can have some art pieces as background art, like on Twitter and stuff, like background, wallpaper, and I want to say, yeah, sure, like I would love to export it, but the Square stuff doesn't work. So maybe I'm flawed in my thesis here that I should draw in Square and I should start doing some landscapes, like proper landscape size, so we can give you people your wallpapers. But so maybe that's just something I should just get better at, just from a composition perspective, keep everything in the middle, but draw it as it's wide. Maybe that'd be cool. But yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm gonna post it on various things. Oh, one cool thing we can do. Hey, this will be fun, because Procreate keeps a video of the entire thing being made. So let's watch the video of the whole thing. Let's watch the replay. So this is the beginning when we were, I was actually thinking of, I don't know if you guys remember this, I was drawing the bridge, and I finally was like, nah, screw the bridge. And then we started drawing all the different layers. We added some shadows. We worked on the mountain. We added some fog and some light. Those were the lighting layers I was talking about. We added our highlights. We did the person. Boom, and then color. And then we added some noise, and there it is. It's pretty fun, right? I like it. Well, fam, I think I'm gonna wind down here because I got the week ahead of me. I got work tomorrow, and it's almost midnight. But this was super fun. I love this this piece. I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me and keeping me company while I drew it. Miguel, did it hold up? Like did the technique hold up? I gotta remove my glove that I use. It's a cool technique, I think, and yeah, I've been using it in all my pieces because like now I can't be bothered to even draw with any colors because I'm like, I'll gradient map it later. And it works so well. It's really cool. Anyway, it's a great technique. I hope you learned something, and even if you didn't, I hope you had fun, and even if you didn't, I hope you were chilled, and that we created a nice relaxed place for you here. I'm gonna play it by ear next week if we'll be drawing anything. Worst case scenario, we'll be back next year, but I'll let everyone know in some form or another. But otherwise, I hope that y'all have a great week ahead. I hope y'all take it easy. I'm gonna let the next song play us out, and I'll just say it. Until next time, peace.